Thom Woodroofe is a senior fellow and the founding director of the Asia Society Policy Institute's China Climate Hub. CGTN's Paul Barber asked him about the significance of John Kerry's visits.
I think it's really important that the world's two largest emitters can find a way to work together. And I actually think this visit is a real opportunity to test whether some actual meat can be put on the bone of the US-China relationship more generally. We've seen both Tony Blinken and then Janet Yellen's visit in the last month really test the willingness for engagement, particularly with Tony Blinken's visit. This trip is now designed to really test if there's actually some genuine instruments of cooperation that can be forged between both sides.
And the focus of your work, Thom, at the Asia Society is on China-US climate cooperation and diplomacy. How can China and the US collaborate more effectively to tackle climate challenges, and what concrete outcomes do you hope to see from John Kerry's trip to Beijing?
The holy grail outcome from the US perspective would be if the Chinese are prepared to isolate climate change from the rest of the relationship. And what that does is it helps protect that cooperation in the event of a geopolitical disagreement elsewhere. And frankly, that's what we saw last year when Nancy Pelosi visited Taiwan, and then Beijing cut off cooperation and engagement with the United States in 8 areas, one of which was climate change. Now, I'm a pragmatist. I actually don't think we're going to see that come out of this visit. But what I do think we will see is effectively a return to a whole bunch of actions that the two countries agreed to take together at the end of 2021, just before Nancy Pelosi's visit. And those actions included both at a practical level, some really concrete action to do with methane emissions, but also at a procedural level, establishing a whole bunch of working groups in different areas to do with climate change, which was really designed to sort of share lessons learned with respect to, for example, how to massively roll out electric vehicle infrastructure in the United States, which is an area where China has done some really impressive work, and other areas like that. So they're the kind of things that I think we're likely to see come out of this visit.
So you're looking at realistic outcomes, managing expectations perhaps. But can in-person meetings between the world's two biggest carbon emitters help to build a positive momentum, and what does that mean for the rest of the world?
Diplomacy is all about people, and absolutely it's important that that John Kerry and his counterpart, Xi Jinping, actually have an opportunity just to meet in person. They haven't done that now for all of 2023. Xi Jinping has also had a number of public health concerns during that period, which has been part of the fact. But I think here a positive signal does a couple of things. First of all, on climate change, it sends a really powerful signalling effect to the rest of the world that the two largest emitters are actually getting on with the job of reducing emissions and adapting to its impacts. And in 2014, when they did so similarly, that was the greatest catalyst in terms of actually the Paris Agreement being forged the following year. So we know that when the two can get along, it actually demonstrably has an impact on the rest of the world's actions.